Hey guys, and welcome to Tech and More Tech. Today we're going to review the Microsoft Surface Go. The Surface Go is Microsoft's most recent addition to their ever-growing hardware line. It slots in right at the bottom as a cheaper alternative to the Surface Pro. It seems to be aiming at the iPad Pro market, for someone that needs one device to take care of all their computing needs. From watching cat gifs on Reddit to creating a household budget spreadsheet in Excel. So is this Microsoft's answer to the future of computing? Let's find out. Be sure to check out techandmoretech.com for the more detailed written review, link in the description below. You can get the Surface Go in two different hardware configurations. They both have the same Intel Pentium Gold processor, but the $399 option has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of eMCC storage. The more expensive option, which is $549, comes with 8 gigs of RAM and 120 GB SSD, which is much faster. The device itself is on par with all the other Surface products, which is great. It looks and feels like someone took a Surface Pro and took it to the photocopier and shrunk it by about 25%. It has the same excellent magnesium enclosure as its larger sibling, including the rear hinge, which is both sturdy and smooth. It weighs a little bit over a pound, and it's just a little bit heavier than the iPad from 2018, but either way, you can hold it with one hand for long times with no issues, and you won't even notice it when you put it in your bag. The Surface Go has a standard assortment of buttons and ports. You've got your power button, your volume rockers, your 3.5mm headphone jack, your USB-C port, which I'm so happy they added, and a Surface Connect port for charging. It also has a microSD expansion port hidden here behind the hinge. I'm very glad they added a USB-C port to the Surface Go. It was one of my main complaints about the Surface laptop from last year. I do understand for some people it can be a bit of an annoyance because there's still not a huge compatibility, but I think future-proofing your device this way is a good start. I do kind of wish they would switch out the Surface Connect for another USB-C port because you can charge the device with both, but that's just me being nitpicky. It has two cameras, front and back. The front utilizes the Hello feature of Windows, which I gladly welcome. As someone who uses an iPhone 10 every day, I love that I can just look at the Surface and unlock it with my face. The back camera is there for the sake of being there. It's good for quick shots, but don't expect them to end up in National Geographic. The speakers are exactly as good as you might expect them to be. Actually, maybe a little bit better. They're loud and clear, and they're great for watching movies or YouTube or whatever, but don't expect them to be the center of your house party. Finally, we come to the display. But before we jump into the details, we should first acknowledge the bezels that surround it. They're thick. Acceptable, but thick. I imagine this was done to keep costs down, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm fine with it. Sure, thin bezels give that futuristic screen-only look like in Westworld. You'll soon get used to the display and its bezels, and you'll just go about your day. The display itself is 10 inches with a 3:2 aspect ratio and an 1800 by 1200 resolution, which gives it a density of about 217 ppi. I think the display is great. It's not quite as great as an iPad Pro, but it doesn't need to be either. Colors are nice and bright. Contrast is good, and the viewing angles are vast, so no matter where you adjust the rear hinge to, you're going to be able to happily use the Surface Go. The Surface Go runs Windows 10s, same as the Surface laptop. Now, this is kind of like Microsoft's attempt to make a walled garden ecosystem, kind of like iOS. Basically, the limitation is you can only run the Edge browser, and you can only install applications from the Microsoft Store. For a very basic user, this isn't going to cause any problems, but if this is going to be your full-time machine, then it can be a little bit of annoying. Luckily, Microsoft makes it incredibly easy to upgrade to the full Windows. A few clicks, not even a restart, and you are free from Microsoft shackles. Now that you can run whatever software you want, you're still most likely going to be using the basics like Office and web browsing. You can run the occasional edit in Photoshop or Lightroom, but any sort of heavier edits are going to slow down the machine. Using the Surface Go as a laptop is actually quite a joy. It was quick and responsive, and the Surface cover was actually really great. It's a little cramped, but once you get used to it, you're actually typing really quick. I wrote the entire review on the device, and it was easy. The trackpad is also really responsive and handles multi-finger input like scrolling and zooming just like you would expect it to. The trackpad is a little bit on the smaller side, especially if you've used some of the behemoth ones on like the new MacBooks, but considering the size of the type cover, it fits perfectly and doesn't get in the way of your palms when typing. Using the Surface Go as a tablet, on the other hand, was a little bit less impressive. You can really tell that touch input from your finger is a secondary priority for Windows 10. Oftentimes the link or the button that you're trying to press with your finger is just a little bit too small, so you end up sort of tapping around it multiple times before you finally get it. Windows offers no help in terms of getting the input boxes to be larger or more lenient towards touch input. There are also just not that many great apps on the Microsoft Store, so don't expect this to be the same as an iPad where there's an app for everything. Surprisingly, what there is an app for is Smart Home Control. Under the Cortana settings in Windows 10, you can natively connect a whole bunch of smart home devices such as Hue, Nest, Ecobee, and even SmartThings and Wink hubs. There are also several home control apps in the Windows Store, but not quite as many as you would find in the iOS or Android App Store. Nevertheless, Cortana was able to easily sync with my Hue devices and my Ecobee, and I was able to control it with no issues. Cortana easily understood all my prompts in regards to the smart home controls, and easily changed my thermostat and my lights with no issues. This was a really nice surprise. With all that being said, that brings us to the golden question. Should you buy this? The Surface Go has a lot going for it. It's a really good, inexpensive Windows machine. The only compromises are really in the performance department, and for the vast majority of people that will be looking at a device like this, that is perfectly fine. If you're looking for a tablet to buy as a secondary leisurely device, this isn't it. Go buy an iPad. However, if you're the kind of person who looks to an iPad to be your only device, this can easily be that device without all the limitations that an iPad comes with. You have a full file browser and the full workings of Windows. You've even got mouse input and expandable storage, and a USB-C slot so that you can connect external thumb drives or connect external monitors or whatever. I would even recommend this as a secondary device to someone that has a Windows-based environment. Let's say you have like a desktop at the home or at the office and you just need a Surface for the go. See what I did there? But I would say between the two hardware options, I would definitely go with the more expensive one. It's $549, plus you gotta buy the $100 type cover, but it's easily the best value for money that you can get. It's gonna be a little bit faster and it's gonna just be more future-proof. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for more videos to come. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I will get to them as best I can. Until next time, see ya.